Now it's time to add our bio, our Tone and Manner bio text. So I'm going to get the select tool, select all of my art elements so far, hold the shift key, and we're just going to move these to the left to give us a little bit of room. And then I'll leave it at this zoom level right now. So let's get our text. So I'm going to hide InDesign. And in my exercise folder, you'll notice I have a sketchbook resources. So basically everything we've been doing as far as our research, our planning, our discussions, all of that content should be working its way into your sketchbook. And you simply can print and paste elements into your sketchbook. So you'll be drawing in your sketchbook, you'll be doodling in your sketchbook, taking notes in your sketchbook, and the content which you do, which is digital, you can just print it and paste it in, just like in the example sketchbook I shared with you. So you'll notice in the sketchbook resources, I have all the elements I've been using in the discussions, and here is the bio. So I'm going to open the bio, select and copy everything, and then I can close this, and let's go back to InDesign. All right, so let's go to our layers, and we have our name. So let's make a new layer. This one will be bio, and we can close the layers. Now let's get our text tool, and for now let's just drag a pretty good size box and paste. So here's our text, and you want to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, and you want to make sure that after your paragraphs right now you don't have a space. Okay, you in fact have a space between your paragraphs, but not an additional space. And you'll see why here in a second. So we want to make sure we in fact have a paragraph return, a hard return, but there should be no spaces in between. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom out for a second. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go to my character styles, and we're going to make our type Roboto. So it should be up here at the top. And I'm going to work with regular, or what is often known as book also. And the default here is probably 12 pixels, and 12 pixels is actually pretty darn large. Okay, so I'll bring this down to 9. 8's probably getting a little on the small side. When I used to do magazines, it would be very common. We would use 9.5 on 11 leading. So as an example, we could go to the point size here, and after the 9 do 0.5. And then over here on our leading, I can make this 11. And this is pretty common to what we used in magazines. Now I tend to like a little bit more leading, so I'm going to go to 12. You want to be careful, you don't want too much space between your lines. Okay, it's kind of you may want more space. I don't like too much space. Okay, so now what we're going to do is let's scroll down and let's find, I believe right here is our space after, and we're going to increase our space after, and I'm going to go with 6 pixels. Now here's a general rule. You can use space between paragraphs, or you can indent a paragraph, but you don't do both. So if you want to indent a paragraph to create that separation between paragraphs visually, okay. Or you can add space. The next rule is you indent the paragraphs beginning with the second paragraph. Do not indent the first paragraph. Okay? Now, the next is the line length for your type. And the general rule is 10 to 12 words is a comfortable amount of words to have in a line length. You can do less depending on a layout, but more is not really considered a good idea. So let's just count here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the word move is the 12th word. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably too long of a line length. So I want my line length to be here at where the last word is move is what I'm trying to say here. So let's go ahead and adjust. There it is. Let's adjust our line length like so. Now this is a much better line length. Okay? All right. Now, I do not like hyphenations, and the general rule, that's me personally, the general rule is if you have a column of type, you would have one hyphen in that total column of type. So I'm just going to come over here and remove the hyphenation, and you'll see the word move over here. So let's get the word move back. And now I'm going to position my type. I can move this up a little bit here, and I can position my type like so. And what we're going to do now is we're going to modify our type, and we're going to modify the type so some of this type comes over here, and we're going to do that with our pen tool. So I'm going to really zoom in, and before I do that, I want my first line to be like in here somewhere. Okay, so let's bring this down like so to start, and this little icon here is letting you know that there's some extra type. Okay, so we're not showing all the type, and that's why we're seeing this error right here. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. What I'm going to do is make sure that I am in fact lining my type for the moment. It's kind of, this is nice alignment here. This space is probably too tight, but we're going to do something a little different anyway. But let's start out with aligning our type with the edge of this image. And now this right here, we have some choices. Will the baseline of this type align with the top of this image, or will the X height of our lowercase letters align with the top, or will the cap height? And you'll notice in this line there's not a lot of capital letters, so I'm going to go with the X height. And let's zoom in even more to make this really easy to see. And if you need to, you can drag down a guide, and now I'll select my type and I'll do something like this. Okay, all right, which means now this baseline right here, whoops, accidentally moved it. This baseline, let's just get another guide. We want this type basically to flow over here. So with our text box selected, let's go and get the Add Anchor Point tool. And I'm going to add an anchor point right there. And then I'm just going to add another anchor point right up here. And then we're going to get this second arrow, which I don't believe we've really used. This is our direct selection tool. And I want to select this point right here specifically. So I'm going to deselect, and when I hover over this, I can see the points, and you'll notice they're not solid now. So I'll select this point, and I'm just going to use the Shift key, because if I use the Shift key and I count how many increments I come this way, then I can do the same with this one up here. And I just know I'll be very accurate. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go 9. We'll go 9. And now I want this to come down until the line is perpendicular on the bottom. Okay? Now we can select this point. All right? Now, what you're probably noticing is you can create containers for your type and create any shapes you want to have type flow around objects, or to create graphic shapes with your type, because type doesn't have to be just type. Type can be a graphic element of your layout. All right, so let's move over 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. All right, let's zoom out. And what we are going to do is we notice that this line didn't come over here. And that's okay, because what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to move my type like so. And this space here, let's just zoom in. This space here, I'm going to echo here. Now, if I brought this line down slightly, then this line would flow over this way, but it's sort of a potato-potato, tomato-tomato sort of thing. I will move my type up this way. You'll notice the error came back because I went too far. So let's come down. And then the error went away. And I might have an extra carriage return in here somewhere. So let's just take a quick look. So let's move this down. And let's get our text tool. And I'm not 100% sure if I have some spaces in there, but it looks like I did. Okay, so now let's move our shape back up, and we should still have no errors. We don't have the little red indicator that we've gone too far. All right, so my guides are showing again. So view, extras, grids guides, hide guides. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. And visually, this is less than this. So I believe what I'm going to do is zoom in, get the direct select tool, select, click this point and this point. I'm going to shift click the 2 points and now use my down arrow. And there we go. We're able to get that line to flow over. So now this space and this space are closer. This looks like less. So I either will move everything up or I'll move things over. Now, I always look for alignment. So I'm going to get my guide again and come off this stroke in my last name. And you'll see that this is very close to this baseline of type. So I think I'm just going to bring this down. So the baseline of this type aligns with this edge of the stroke. And now this space and this space appears. Let's go ahead and hide our guides again. And maybe we come over just a little bit. Okay? And we will zoom out. Now, this line length is longer up here and then shorter again down here. So it's kind of something you have to choose and you have to make up your mind. I could shorten and shorten the right hand side, and I should say make the text box more narrow, and get my 12 words back up here. And then what will happen is my text will flow further down this way, which means I'd have to move my text up this way. So everything is sort of a balance. Everything is making decisions and weighing out your options. Okay? So I'm going to go with what we have here. So let's go ahead and save, and we can move on to the next step in the next video.